Sige, so let me know. Ano nga bang pressing questions that you have right now in life? Pwedeng generic question yan, something that you're curious about, no? Pwede rin naman na a specific concern, no? Na alam mong pag nasagot natin, meron ka na kagad game plan on how to improve that part of life specifically. Actually, minsan, it's knowledge lang that we need. So, kapag na-fill na yung knowledge gap na yun, alam mo kagad may instant improvement na and transformations. Minsan naman, it's a strategy, may action plan, no? Merong steps that need to be implemented. Whichever way, game tayo, the floor is open. You can actually just unmute and ask a question or type in your question sa chat tapos doon na magsisimula yung discussions natin. Alright, so a minute has passed. If in 4 minutes wala pa tayong question, kumbaga matulog na lang tayo this afternoon. So bigyan ko kayo a few more minutes. Kasi kung wala naman tayong questions rin for now, pwede nang magmerienda na lang tayo. So, medyo late na pala for merienda pero yeah, so go ahead. If so, ano na, the floor is open. Kung meron man, yeah, game.
Ako na lang siguro.
Go lang sa pagbinyag dito, bro. Go, go, go.
I think you remember that. Parang, so I think it's progress.
Sorry, bro. Is it just, hindi ko alam kung okay, pero parang nagcha-choppy yung line, yung sound. So, maybe you could hold up the mic like nearer to ano.
Ito, better ba?
Ayan,
Better ba?
yan. Yeah, way better, way better.
Ayun, siguro, para to start the ball rolling.
Mm.
Wala naman ako siya naisip sana na question. Pero siguro, parang i-throw out there na lang baka relate ba sa
Yeah.
naisip ko. Kasi di ba remember, nagkaroon tayo ng one-on-one coaching session tungkol
Mm.
sa progress ko about freelancing, yung gusto ko pursue na bago career
Right.
path apart from tour guide. So, meron akong progress so far, parang prospecting ng mga clients, ganyan,
Mm.
university. Kasi may sinusundan ako parang 12-day challenge siya dun sa isang
Yeah.
community. So,
Mm.
sinasabihan ko siya para kahit paano may progress.
Mm.
However, um, ito na naman si tendency ko na para ma-distract. Like,
Mm.
kasi parang ever since nung nag-try na ako mag-start na mag-progress din sa freelancing na part na to, may nakikita ko iba pang mga communities around. Parang, uy, mukhang promising din yung community na yun. Diba, yung freelancing yun yung nagawa ko yun. Kaya nakikita ko pa e-commerce na. Parang ang ganda rin yung attendant. Parang. So parang ako, distracted. Yun yung nakikil ko.
Right.
So, I don't know. Kasi parang sa stage pa rin ako, na early stage pa lang ako ng freelancing journey ko. Pero
Mm.
nakikita ko naman yung another community na mukhang, I think pwede din ako dun sa community.
Right.
At
Right.
baka, pag tinake ko yung course na yun, baka, yung parang like iniisip yung time eh. Kasi baka mamaya, pala para sa akin, freelancing tapos mas okay ako sa commerce. So,
Yeah.
yun lang so far, parang gusto ko lang i-share. Ayun yung napifeel ko right now. Parang,
Mm.
I think maganda rin siyang journey. However, hindi ko alam kung distracted lang talaga ako or tempt naman ako course hoarder.
Correct.
Yun
Right.
lang.
I get you, bro. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, no? This is a topic na hindi naman usually napag-uusapan, no? Yung pag-gauge ng opportunities. Okay? The idea kasi is first we need to realize we are surrounded by marketing. Okay? So in essence, lahat ng makikita natin o halos lahat ng makikita natin is the good side of the opportunities. Okay? There's also a dark side to every opportunity, meaning kung meron mga successful stories, meron ding mga unsuccessful na attempts. Okay? That's one. Another part, maliban dun sa dark side, so there's the good side, there's the dark side, and then there's the cost. Okay? So that's another thing na hindi na pag-uusapan. When we say cost, how much time, energy, attention, money, and how well connected do you need to be to make things work? Okay? So iba-iba tayo ng estado ng kung gaano ka-available yung attention natin, yung energy natin, yung oras natin. Kung gaano kalaki yung kaban ng cash that we have at hand, o gaano karami at kataas yung quality ng people in our network. Okay? So all of those are factors that cost us, or yung opportunities will cost us those factors, those resources. Kung meron kang sapat na resources para umabot sa point na ma-maximize mo yung opportunity, okay, then okay yung opportunity na yun for you. Pero if yung resources mo in the first place ay kulang to maximize that opportunity, then mas mahirap kasing pagsabayin yung i-take on mo yung opportunity tapos i-build mo rin yung resources mo at the same time. Ideally, mas madali for you yung opportunity if meron ka ng sapat na resources. Okay? So example, a person who dives into, let's say business, o yung generic na lang. Let's say yung capital niya yun na yung life savings niya. Pag nag-dive siya into business, pinasok niya doon yung pera niya as capital, sobrang gulo na kagad ng state niya for decision making. Kasi, pag hindi nag-work, sayang yung life savings niya. That affects lahat ng decision, yung fears, yung doubts, yung capabilities niya. Kahit magaling talaga siya na person, pwedeng maapektuhan siya ng anxiety. And kahit may experience siya sa ginagawa niya, kung hindi sapat yung emergency funds niya na alam niyang pag hindi kumita yung business, wala siyang kakainin o walang kakainin yung pamilya niya, that's a different playing field. Okay? So, every opportunity can become successful given enough resources put into it. Yung iba, hindi sila mas magaling, mas marami lang silang oras. Yung iba, hindi sila mas matalino, yung energy nila, mas kaya lang nilang ibuhos like with passion towards that specific route. Yung iba naman, may pera lang. So mas marami silang ways to explore yung options nila and leverage din mag-hire ng ibang tao na may time, energy, attention na pwedeng spend for growing their venture aside from sila lang mismo yung gumagalaw. So, it's all about a resource game. It's really not just about the opportunity. So, yun yung madalas na side na hindi natin napag-uusapan. What's the cost of the opportunity? Okay? If you can pay that cost and pay that continually, then the opportunity is promising at mas pwedeng maging successful. The odds are in your favor. Pero kung sakali, nabitin yung resources mo, pwedeng i-pursue mo yung opportunity pero hindi ka pa aabot sa point na yung tinanim mo may bunga na. Okay? So, madalas sa atin, bibitawan na kagad natin yung isang opportunity kasi hindi natin alam what it costs before we become successful at something. And the thing is, most people who provide the opportunity, hindi rin naman nila nililinaw yun. Kasi pag nilinaw nila yun, mas konti yung bibili. Diba? I'd rather just, if I'm creating something, I'll tell you the promise and I'll tell you there's a process to getting there, but I won't really tell you how long it would take. I won't really tell you gaano ka messy lahat ng kailangan pagdaanan, how much time this actually takes from your life on the back end. Paano ito makakaapekto sa tulog mo, paano ito makakaapekto sa kain mo, paano ito makakaapekto sa social life mo, sa mental health mo. If lahat lang, okay? If lahat lang ng klase ng opportunities, lalo na yung paid opportunities online, is required to be transparent sa lahat ng cost of what it takes for people to achieve the promise of that specific opportunity, we would actually be thinking a lot more before we say yes to opportunities. It's just that we're surrounded by marketing. So these things are either sinasadya na hindi pag-usapan o i-mask, o kaya hindi talaga aware sa lahat ng layers yung mismong tao na nagte-create ng opportunity na yun. Pwedeng yung intention niya is tumulong talaga sa iba, pero hindi niya pa nalilinaw lahat ng factors. Kaya hindi niya rin ma-explain in a proper way. Okay. So, it's never just about the opportunity. It's about the resources that you have to take on the opportunity. That being said, meron bang follow-up questions from the group? Any follow-up to that question? O baka ikaw, Stephen, like further thoughts on the matter?
Yeah.
The floor is, yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Bag. So, siguro, ang curious question ko lang, since you've been mentioning resources a lot for opportunities, I think, parang talaga factor is yung time, saka yung money, doon sa talaan. Ang curious question ko is, what are the odds na pwede siyang ipagsabay yung dalawang opportunity para i-test ko siya, para
Sure.
saka parang in the longer run, makikita mo, ay, ito pala yung mas bagay na opportunity mo. Kasi siyempre, really, let's say, resources ka na. May pera ka naman pambayad. Sige, nabayad.
Yeah.
To pay for the opportunity. Pero, andun na yun. Pero yung time also na ilalaan. Kasi I think that's another valuable resource. So, ang curious question ko again is, how much time ba ito allot para, malaman ko, I think, kung ipagsasabay, or tama ba yung tanong, pwede bang ipagsabay yung dalawa? Or, dapat talaga mag-focus lang sa isa at the concept? Parang, sorry kung nag-matter ba yung parang.
Yeah, it does. Thank you, bro. So, let's say we have multiple opportunities, pwede pang pagsabayan. Okay, it's still a matter of resources. Now, you can imagine, iba-iba tayo ng context sa buhay. Iba kapag meron kang 3 anak na kailangang alagaan, tapos pasaway yung asawa mo. As opposed to single ka, tapos wala ka naman dependents. Okay? Iba kapag nasa corporate job ka, tapos, let's say, 2 tao, magkaibang corporate job. Diba? Yung isa is, let's say, office work, managerial level, nag-handle siya ng mga tao. So, nai-stress siya dun sa mga tao. Okay? And then yung isa, office job, data entry work. So, nagsasawa siya dun sa work, pero pag tapos na yung shift niya, wala siya ibang kailangang isipin about work. Magkaiba pa rin yung cycles ng energy nila at yung takbo ng oras sa buhay nila. Diba? parehong 24 hours yung lumilipas, pero yung pakiramdam mo about time, pwedeng mabilis o mabagal. Eh, kapag sobrang bilis ng mga araw, parang naka-autopilot ka na lang. Hindi mo namamalaya. Minsan hindi mo na alam anong date, hindi mo na alam anong araw in the day. Minsan hindi mo na alam anong buwan. Medyo malala na kung hindi mo alam yung taon. Okay? Pero wala pa naman, wala, isa pala. Isa pa lang yung tao na na-meet ko na nalilito pa rin siya sa year hanggang ngayon. Okay? Pero ang lala na nun, di ba? Na nalilito ka kung anong taon ngayon. Parang time traveler, traveler mode na, di ba? But you, as you meet different people, and even sa sarili mong experience, meron ganun eh. No, depende sa ginagawa mo, hindi mo nag-iiba rin yung experience mo of time, even if it's the same 24 hours. Those are indicators of how well you're managing time or ano pa yung iba mong pwedeng i-take on sa buhay right now. Kung andun ka sa point na parang nagkakalito sa oras and stuff, malamang overwhelmed ka na and swamped ka na with the current responsibilities that you have. Now, the opportunities will always be alongside life stuff. Okay? So, lahat ng relationships that you need to take care of, sarili mong self-care, like fitness, di ba? Like different stuff. Okay? So, aside from may oras ka na nilalagay dun sa opportunities, may iba ka pang kailangan i-consider na pinaglalaanan mo rin ng time, energy, attention, and money. Okay? Now, kaya bang pagsabayan? Yes. It's still just a matter of kung may enough ka bang bandwidth, may enough ka bang resources. Okay? Now, ano yung advantage ng pag-enroll sa online courses, stuff like that? It shortens the gap between knowledge, okay, and hindi necessarily execution eh. Pero let's say may ganun siyang tendency. Kasi depende pa rin naman sa atin kung i-execute natin. Okay? Iba pa kasi yung alam mo lang yung gagawin versus may drive ka na talaga na gawin. Okay? An online course usually tells you what to do. So the knowledge gap is filled. Pero you can still find yourself hindi ganun ka-driven to actually take action on what you already know. Okay? Yun naman ay mas nasa support system, nasa environment mo. Okay? So even if you take, ayun, nag-evolve na kasi dati puro online courses lang. Tapos nagkaroon ng online courses plus community. Kasi pag may online course, bitin yung results. Pag dinagdagan mo ng community, like people na kasabayan mo in the journey, pwedeng pagtanungan, pwedeng sumuporta, gumaganda yung resulta. Okay? Magkaiba talaga kasi yung knowledge versus drive to take action. Okay? Now, in my case naman, what I do is mostly mentorships. So it's a one-on-one level na approach. Yung advantage naman nun is just we're cutting through lahat ng unnecessary stuff. Meaning, naka-tailor fit na sa kailangan ng mismong mentee. So, sometimes you don't need to study the whole course. Ang kailangan mo lang naman, example, the whole course, let's say you're building an e-com business. The whole course takes like a 6-month time frame. Okay? Meaning, both studying and executing. Okay? A lot of people, kapag course yung meron, is i-consume muna nila yung course, tapos tsaka nila mag-feel na ready na sila to take action. Okay? Or not. Depende. Pero consuming muna yung focus. Like, with mentorship, what happens is you build as you go. Meaning, in-ensure natin na, yes, you consume what you need lang right now, and then, kailangan mo na siyang i-apply, and then may feedback loop na kagad, and then titingnan natin if yung next na ba yung kailangan i-sort out. So that's one advantage kasi we're cutting through the noise na unnecessary. Plus, na-speed up din yung progress and yung pag-integrate ng experience. Yung pag-integrate ng experience kasi yung pinakamahalaga. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang nag-take action pero naiintindihan mo kung ano yung tinitake actionan mo. Pangit ang taglish ko. But the idea is, andun talaga yung real learning, yung pag-gain ng experience. So if masyadong mahaba yung gap between knowledge and execution, experience is diluted. Okay? Tipong, let's say, isang buong buwan, inaral mo yung course, tapos, the next month, nag-execute ka, makalimutan mo na yung iba doon. Actually, most likely, makalimutan mo na yung marami doon. Tapos, babalikan mo lang ulit siya kapag nandun ka na sa point na kailangan mong execute ulit kasi yun ay applicable. Okay? That's one example of a diluted experience or learning. Okay? We are meant, as human beings, to solidify learning by application. So, sorry, just going back to the point. You need to know kung ano yung mas kailangan mo rin. Okay? Kung driven ka na person, an online course would work because it's just knowledge na kailangan. Kung okay ka na sa knowledge na side, tapos hindi ka driven, ang mas kailangan mo is usually a community or a support system. Yeah. And then, in some cases, mentorship could cover for both. Depending na lang dun sa mismong knowledge base ng mismong mentor. Yeah. It's just making sense as a concept. Like, yeah. So may follow-up questions pa on this? Okay, all good. How about the group? Tsaka kung kaya niyo mag-video, magpakita naman kayo. Nakakalungkot ngayon kasi tag-ulan. So, parang gusto ko lang ma-feel na ano, may mga ka-bonding tayo ngayong Friday. Sige, let's move forward. Okay. A question here, how can we get out on the mindset na rat race? Ang hirap mag-save ng money. Kasi in cycle siya. Na kahit want na mag-ipon, nauubos pa din. Especially kapag needs ng kids. Mga anak talaga, ano yan eh. Magastos yan eh. Hindi, joke lang, joke lang. Hindi siya joke. Hindi joke na magastos yung anak, okay? I'm saying na parang, yeah, ano, it's part of our responsibility aspects. So, hindi hindi talaga biro, no? Yung gastos for kids. Uh, kaya ano eh, kaya lahat ng money matters, okay? Money habits lumalala o mas gumaganda depending on your emotional level towards money. Okay? So bakit magastos ang kids? Hindi dahil magastos lang talaga sila naturally. It's because you are emotionally invested in your kids. Okay? Anything that is important enough to you, anything that is na-express mo yung values mo about as a person, anything na yun nga, mas emotionally attached or emotionally invested ka in, kusang magiging mas magastos sa buhay mo. In a way na minsan hindi mo mapipigilan o baka madalas hindi mo mapipigilan. Okay? So, kahit anong sabihin sa'yo, kahit sabihin sa'yo ng asawa mo, parang, oh, bakit kumastos ka naman dyan? Oh, may Shopee na naman ako makakatawa sa... So, kahit ano pang discussion yung mangyari, if you are still emotionally invested in something, your money will flow towards that. Okay? There was a time in my life, nagyaya ako ng mga kaibigan ko na mag-gym. Well, ngayon, hindi naman ako nag-gym. Pero there's a time in my life. Hirap na hirap silang magbayad ng gym membership fee. Okay? And at that time, it was like 900 pesos per year. Okay, so ito yung Bakal Boys Gym, hindi to Anytime Fitness, hindi to Fitness First. Okay, Bakal Boys lang talaga na gym. Like dito lang sa neighborhood namin, 900 pesos a year. Okay, tapos ano na yun, unlimited tubig na yun, tapos mag-extra juice ka kung gusto mo yun. But tapos meron lang siyang 20 pesos na fee. So membership yung 900, 20 pesos na fee every time you would go to the gym, which is like three times a week. So 60 pesos lang yun. Okay? Niyaya ko sila para may kasabayan ako. Pero hirap na hirap sila mag-shell out nung 900. Okay? Pero pag inuman, okay, this is not a diss. Okay? This is not a diss to people na umiinom o may bisyo. No. It's just that I eventually understood mas mahalaga sa kanila yung area na yun of their life. No judgment to them. It's just that mas mabilis mag-flow yung pera sa kung saan ka emotionally invested. Okay? So, kung meron mga uncontrollable expenses, ang kailangan mong i-check is, ano bang nararamdaman mo? Ano bang emotional state mo kapag itong mga bagay na to yung pinag-uusapan? Malalaman mo yan kapag merong ibang tao na kumontra sa'yo, okay? O kaya kino-question yung money choices mo when it comes to that. Ano yung response mo dun? Okay? Or pwede namang i-assess mo lang mismo. Diba? Ano bang nararamdaman ko pag binibili ko to? Okay? Bakit nga ba to something na parang uncontrollable expense, parang non-negotiable, parang I can't live without it? Okay? Even just asking yourself those questions, mali-reveal ano yung nararamdaman mo about that specific area. Okay? Now here's the thing. Marami sa mga tao, may mga hidden tayo na emotional needs, okay, na unmet. So pag nagkaroon tayo ng extra cash flow, okay, nagkakaroon tayo ng chance to meet those needs. Okay? Siyempre, kung wala pang pera dati, wala yun, parang naiipon lang yun, tatabunan lang yun. Diba? Pero, kapag nagkaroon ka ng extra cash flow, ngayon sa panahon natin, diba, you can actually earn a lot online, diba? Like different ways of getting more cash flow into our lives. Pero ito yung usual nangyayari. Hindi mo namamalayan yung kinikita mo. Especially on the first mga 1 year to 2.5 years. Kahit significantly mas malaki yung pumapasok sa'yo. Yung experience ng karamihan, I would say 8 out of 10 people, alam nilang kumita sila ng mas malaki this year, pero hindi nila namalayan masyado. O hindi nila alam saan napunta, o hindi nila ma-figure out bakit yun na lang yung natira. Okay? Why? Kasi, yung naipon na emotional needs, okay, kailangan mabigyan ng outlet. So yung karamihan ng cash flow na pumasok sa buhay nila, it didn't feel like kailangan nilang i-monitor yung money. Kasi the feeling is good. Yung mga bagay na hindi mo mabili dati, mga bagay na hindi mo ma-experience dati, mga bagay na hindi mo maibigay sa mga mahal mo sa buhay dati. So, hindi mo na kino-question yun eh. It just feels right to spend money on those. Lalo na if through the years, unmet talaga yung emotional needs na related dun sa mga bagay na yan. Until when we go back to the practical, andiyan na yung credit card, utang sa Bombay, utang sa asawa, which is usually pag utang sa asawa, hindi na binabayaran. Ay, hindi ko pala alam, baka ako lang yun. So, nagiging overspending na. So, it 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 starts with, okay, I have emotional needs na hindi ko pa na-meet. Kikita ko ng mas malaki, so I have a chance to meet those needs. Okay? And then I don't know when to stop. Therefore, money would continually flow towards those unmet emotional needs. And then nako-compromise na yung actual cash flow. That's a usual pattern. I would say that's 8 out of 10 people I know, especially in the freelancing industry. Okay? And yung mga new entrepreneurs na like bagong entrepreneur na industry. Okay? And ano siya, it's a new rich phenomenon. If I could call it that. So when we say new rich, like ano, hindi mo pa talaga alam, parang nag-a-adjust ka pa lang talaga sa pagiging mayaman. Okay, or having more than what you're used to. Okay? So usually natututo tayo from what I've seen, like after a 1 year to 2.5 year mark. Doon lang nagsi-sink in na, ay hindi na pala pwedeng ganito. Ay, nasobrahan pala ako sa kaka-deserve ko 'to. Okay? Pero hindi, I mean, kaya siya magulo minsan kasi like money or finance gurus would tell you to just save. As in, cut down on expenses, alisin lahat ng unnecessary, and kumbaga, as in, very plain, kung ano lang yung kailangan mo sa buhay, yun lang yung gastos. Okay? But, there's wisdom in that, pero I know human beings enough na hindi mo talaga basta pwedeng mapigilan yung naipon na emotional needs. Lalabas at lalabas yun in different ways. Okay? And this happens to people who, nakwento ko na to one time. One of the setbacks na nangyari sa business namin na family. So my dad, he has like a thriving microfinance business. Pero dumating sa yung point sa buhay ko na yung mga kapatid ko kailangan lumipat sa public school. Sa ako na lang natira sa private. Hindi ko alam yung reason back then, pero eventually nalaman ko, nalulung pala yung tatay ko sa sabong. Okay. Now here's the thing. He didn't need yung winnings niya sa sabong. Kumbaga, business is doing good. Kahit hindi siya magsugal, actually mas okay pa yung buhay niya, hindi siya magsugal eh. Kasi sustainable yung business, wala siya kailangan ibang problemahin. Right? But as a man, as a human being, as kung ano yung mga traumas niya sa buhay, lahat ng unmet needs niya and stuff. Okay. Napag-usapan namin ito extensively, so hindi siya, hanggang grade 2 lang yung educational attainment niya. Okay? So nung ina-assess namin, bakit ka gumagastos? Bakit ka nang ipagsabong? Kasi yung mga kaibigan niya doon, tinatrato siya with respect kasi mayaman siya. Manlilibre siya ng pagkain, papainom siya from time to time, and it made him feel good. Pero sabong yung context by which the relationships were commonly grounded. So, I mean, there could have been other ways for those emotional needs to be met. More healthier ways. Ways na less risky. Ways na hindi madadamay negatively sa consequences yung pamilya niya. But, hindi siya aware sa ganong choices before. So, nalulong siya sa sabong. Every type of addiction, okay, especially if it involves money, it's to meet an emotional need. Okay? So kahit bilib ako sa mga kayang magtipid and may wisdom sa lahat ng tips about pagtitipid and like saving, investments, insurance, HMO, like proper financial foundations. I do give that advice as well to my mentees kapag nilinaw namin yung context ng buhay nila and ng gastos nila. Pero pag in-ignore lang natin continually yung emotional na side, sasabog yun at one point in time. Okay. A lot of cases kung saan there's cheating that happens in the family. Okay? A lot of cases wherein hindi mo nasasabihin sa partner mo, tapos nag-invest ka in something hoping na dodoble, triple yung pera. Tapos eventually, na-scam kayo. Like, there's so many stories. Okay? Right. So I'm indirectly answering the question. Okay? But ang suggestion ko is just audit. Audit mo, ano ba yung emotional relationship mo with money and for specific na mga purchases. Okay? Bakit ganun kabilis yung pag-flow out of money from your hands for certain things? If you get to pinpoint ano yung emotional state mo dun sa mga gastos na yun, ma-raise mo yung level of awareness mo. And your decision making could be smoother over time. Okay? So, hindi siya kasing simple as just giving money tips and advice. Kasi the work para mas makilala mo yung sarili mo at yung nararamdaman mo towards your spending habits takes a lot of honesty. Minsan ang hirap aminin. Example na gagastos ka lang sa something because of pride, because of ego. Minsan, ang hirap aminin na gastos ka lang on something kasi nasasaktan ka pa din. Kasi gusto mo na ma ma mapakita sa dating ikaw na kaya mo na ngayon. Diba? There's different versions of this and it's always personal. But that's why it's difficult. But it's more worthwhile. Any follow-up questions to this? Meron ba from the group? Grabe ka naman Kagi, Friday magpapahinga na kami tapos bibigyan mo pa kami ng trabaho. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, you can do it in your own time. Puwede yan kahit nasa CR ka, tumatake ka, ganyan. Notes ka lang about different stuff. Okey yan, singit-singit lang. It doesn't have to be tipong titigil yung buhay mo para mag-deep dive lang on this. Okay? A little progress helps. Minsan nga, it's just a few insights or a few realizations and then magki-click na sa'yo and mindset would shift. Okay, so wala namang follow-up question. Ay, ito related. Pero hanggang anong moment na na-meet na yung emotion para tumigil na paggastusan niyo? Yun nga eh, that's the trap. Because we don't know the stopping point. Kailan tayo satisfied? Okay. Um, you won't know what you can't measure. Okay? And you can't measure what you don't audit. Same thing yan. Hindi naman natin ma-measure exactly yung emotional level, of course. Pero alam mo kung mas okay na siya o hindi. Di ba? Walang exact measurement. Pero hangga't di ka intentionally nag-a-assess o nagre-review o nag-audit, hindi mo alam kung umu-okay o hindi. I've met a lot of people na dati ang gusto lang nila mag-travel. So travel lang sila ng travel. And then, nagkaroon ng utang dahil sa kaka-travel kasi advance mo na ibo-book, ganyan, blah, blah. So, ang reasoning lang nila, hindi, kaya ko naman kirain yan. Kaya kong i-sort out yan. So, okay lang, utang, retirement stuff. And then eventually, they got out of debt. So like we work on it kasi umabot ng hundreds of thousands yung utang nila, di ba? Tapos iba-ibang credit card. So, inayos muna namin. So, wala na ulit silang utang. Pero, andun pa rin yung craving for travel eh. Andun pa rin, hindi pa rin nawawala. And then, you ask this person, bakit nga ba gusto mo mag-travel? And then, kasi ate, tinanong ko na yun, iba yung sagot niya. Tinanong ko yung same question, iba na yung sagot niya ngayon. Okay? So, hindi naman ibig sabihin kailangan palitan yung habit, pero pwedeng yung pinaghuhugutan mo dun sa habit na yun is a better state of being. So, hindi ko siya pinigilan mag-travel kasi nag-evolve na yung reason niya bakit siya nagta-travel with his family. Okay? So, 'pag hindi mo na-audit, walang questions, walang assessment, hindi mo mage-gauge kung hanggang kailan ka na dapat mag-stop. O kaya, kung mas healthy na ba yung version of that specific thing. Okay? Kasi 'pag mas healthy na siya, empowering siya for you. If it's empowering for you, may ripple effects yun into you generating more income din. So, it's a win-win. Pero kung nananatili na yung pinaghuhugutan nun is an emotional need na hindi mo alam kung na-meet na o hindi kasi hindi mo na-assess ng maayos, it's a trap. So, ang pinagkaiba lang talaga is kung ino-audit ba natin o nire-review natin yung emotional states natin. Okay? At least once a year. Yun na yun. Kung wala ka masyadong oras, sobrang busy ka, at least once a year. Give it 30 minutes to an hour per year. That could help you see, okay, may nagbago na pala. Okay. Pwede palang hindi ko na masyadong, like, i-satisfy to sa buhay ko kasi okay na ako sa area. Okay? Minsan naman, napansin mo, nag-iba na talaga yung spending habits mo. That's a good indicator as well. Okay? Okay. What are the usual ways para hindi sabog, pero unti-unting i-heal siya, gano'n? Gets ko yan. Healing happens by processing something, not just by experiencing something. So babalik pa rin ako sa auditing. You can spend a lot sa isang bagay, pero if hindi nag-sink in sa'yo kasi hindi mo na-process, yung epekto niya is very minimal. However, flip side, pwedeng hindi ka masyadong gumagastos for your healing, pero tinututukan mo ng maayos yung processing, yung experience mo of healing, and you'll heal much faster and in higher quality. So ang healing ay hindi para sa mga tao na may pera lang. Okay? Hindi laging pera lang ang requirement para makapag-heal ka ng maayos from different stuff you've gone through. It helps, it's a tool, it's something you can utilize or maximize para masuportahan yung healing journey mo. Pero hindi yun yung primary requirement. Enhancer lang siya, amplifier lang siya. Your healing happens as you are willing to face yourself through the experiences that you've been in. It's just that, example, why would you pay for a therapist when you can actually talk to a friend? I'm not saying don't go to therapists, pero therapists would actually listen to your story, sometimes give advice, actually very minimal advice because it still boils down to your decision making, tatanungin ka lang ng mga stuff and all. I'm not diminishing the function of therapists, but in many cases, a friend can also function the same way as a therapist. Yun nga lang, hindi nila sadya kasi hindi nila inaral yun. So the tools are different. Okay. But why would you pay for a therapist? Because you need that space for healing. Okay. And it's the same thing for all people. Mag-i-spend ka for something, if that's intentionally to heal, it's because you want to give yourself space to heal. Okay? A challenge. What if wala kang kailangang gastusan, pero you need to create intentional spaces to heal? How would that work? Paano yung pwede mangyari sa buhay mo? What ideas? Di ba? Example, hindi ka pwedeng gumastos in anything. Wala kang pwedeng sabihin na, deserve ko to, kailangan to ng inner child ko. How can you heal apart from money? Because if you take that question seriously, there will be ideas at once. And maybe it's just kailangan mo lang maligo sa ulan. Maybe it's just magpapahabol ka lang ulit sa aso ng kapitbahay nyo. Maybe it's just matulog ka ng mas maayos. Okay? I don't know, what else? Manood ka ng mga 90s anime, mga Lupin the Third, gano'n. I don't know. Iba-iba tayo ng journey. Pero what if hindi mo kailangan gastusan? And you can still intentionally pursue stuff na makakatulong sa'yo to heal. How would that be different? Okay. So, and sabi ito, naka-help yung pag-journal ng emotions, yes. Because any expression of who you are, kahit sinulat mo na yan, it's a reflection of you. It's actually way easier to see a reflection of you when it's outside of you. Okay? So, mag-video record ka, mag-voice record ka, pakinggan mo, panoorin mo, magsulat ka, like post content, ikaw bahala kung gusto mo i-public o naka-only me lang, di ba? Like, it depends. As long as you're expressing yourself, you get to see yourself from a third-person perspective. So, may ibang mga bagay doon na mas lumilinaw. Right. Ito, different set of question na to. Okay? How to find balance between you want to take action immediately from you are overthinking things because you want to be prepared first before you take action. Okay. So first is to understand that no amount of preparation will be enough for everything. Okay? So you can feel like you're 100% prepared, pero hindi talaga. There will still be uncontrollable factors, unexpected things. You can only prepare for what you know. And since you don't know everything, you can prepare for everything. Okay? So it's a waste of time trying to be 100% prepared 100% of the time. Ang rule sa Navy SEALs is 70% preparation. Navy SEALs, basically, most trained for lahat ng klase ng malupit na missions, like military-wise. Okay? The Navy SEALs. Okay? The discipline is there, the tools are there, the training is there, solid yung mga kasama mo. Okay? But the rule is, if you're 70 prepared, it's time to go. 70% preparation, it's time to go. Okay? Because what happens is, from 80%, pag feeling mo 80% prepared ka na, 90 to 100, depende sa experience mo, bumababa na yung drive to actually take action. Why? Because it's too predictable. When it becomes easy, it becomes boring. When it becomes boring, diba? It's like you're playing a game on easy mode. And then it just sucks. Na parang over-leveled ka na, tapos yung mga kalaban mo parang isang tagalang patay na. And then hindi mo na na-enjoy yung whole thing. Okay? So, 80%, 90, 100%, bumababa na yung motivation natin to actually take action on something. We need the risk, we need the thrill, we need the challenge. Okay? So if you feel like you're 70% prepared, it's time to go. Okay? Yung taking action immediately. Okay? There's a safe way of doing it. Okay? It's to take action and then structure feedback. Okay lang na mabilis yung galaw, kahit di mo masyadong pag-isipan, galaw lang kagad. Pero meron kang time na magkaroon ng feedback loop. It's either may ibang tao involved who can give you insights into your performance and what has happened in the process and the results. Or pwede ikaw mismo may sarili kang criteria na binabantayan para makita if things are, okay, nag-take action ako dito, ito yung criteria ko, saan pumapalo to when it comes to the whole process itself. Okay? So, taking action immediately, tas puro action lang, tapos walang feedback, that's a recipe for burnout. Kasi, wala nang nagiging control sa quality ng action moving forward. Ang belief doon is, basta mag-take action ako, o okay lahat. When in actuality, pwedeng nagte-take action ka, pero mali-mali yung galaw. Hindi mo malalaman kung mali-mali yung galaw pag walang maayos na feedback loops. Okay? So kung andun ka sa avatar na yun na puro take action, galaw lang ng galaw, okay lang yan. Useful yun. Pero pwede siyang maging endless black hole na parang hihigupin lang lahat ng energy mo. Tapos malalaman mo lang at one point na parang, hala, ubos na pala ako, ang dami ko na nagawa, pero parang walang nangyari. Okay? Ang stopgap doon is feedback loops. Okay? So how do you find balance in between? Yun lang. Like, pag sinimplify natin siya, what's the 70% preparation for this? And then what's my feedback structure? If you get those sorted out, and feedback can be solo, pwede rin may ibang tao na either nag-guide sa'yo o kasabayan mo, gives insight. So, yeah. May follow-up question ba dito? Wala naman. We can move forward to other questions if you have, questions ba? So we have 8 minutes before we end tonight. And so, sige nga, banatan natin yung question nyo. Nakafocus ako dito. Mamaya nakafocus na ako sa samgyup. Kasi kailangan ko i-heal yung inner child ko. Joke lang. So, game Ace. Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
I'm not sure kung kind of related dun sa question. Pero ang question ko is, if you're like, what's that when to quit? Parang paano mo malalaman na yung tipping point na you have to stop what you're doing, or like, diba, kung your current gig or business, you have to stop na. Parang ganun.
Yeah. Gets. Actually, bro, ano yan? There's different scenarios kasi or context ng isang venture kung bakit paano pumapasok yung idea to stop it altogether. Okay? So, dalawang main like states, no? Things are working out, so it's going well. Okay? And then things are not working out. So it's not going well. Okay? Both have their own kumbaga merits para masabing ititigil ko na to. So unahin ko muna going well. Example, with the agency that I built, we sold it. Okay? That's the way to stop it. Okay? I mean, it's going well. The systems are there. The clients are there. May kontrata pa for like 3 years with other clients, pero we don't want to operate it anymore. So we sold it. So that's an exit strategy. Okay? So if things are going well, the exit strategy is like the go-to thing. Okay? One of my mentees right now, she has a headhunting agency. So worldwide naghahanap lang siya ng talent for specific companies or groups of companies. And then gusto niya mag-exit in 5 years. So there's a strategy towards that. Okay? I won't dive into that much, pero yun yung parang quick version lang. Okay? An exit strategy for when things are going well. Okay? Now, when things are not going well, yan yung mas tricky usually na part. And actually, mas nandyan tayo, no? Most of us are nandun sa na yun, sa side na yun, na kapag hindi nag-workout sa atin yung isang bagay, when to quit. Okay? It's a resource thing, pwede babagsak. Okay? Kasi hanggat kaya mo, kaya ng resources mo na saluhin, pwede mo pa rin tangkihin lahat nung kawalan ng opportunity right now and eventually position yourself for like a bigger opportunity down the road. Okay? Kung kaya pang tangkihin. Okay? Example, you need enough money to survive. You need enough expenses para dun sa mismong business venture. Kung may mga pinapasweldo ka, like taxes, equipment, tools, office, nirerentahan, like Wi-Fi, kuryente, tubig, and stuff like that. Okay? Kung kailangan masustain mo siya. Kung kaya siyang i-sustain and you feel like there's a promise in that specific venture or industry, pwede pa rin. Okay? Kung hindi na kaya, and then it's not working for quite some time, dalawa yung side doon. Kaya ba siya hindi nag-work kasi kulang yung resources niya, pero nag-work na siya dati. Okay? Ibig sabihin, may track record na siya ng results dati, kulang lang yung resources kaya hindi ma-duplicate o mas maging maayos yung momentum ng results na yun. Or, wala talaga siyang results in the first place kahit dati pa. Okay? If it's the first one, na meron na siyang results dati, can you find a way na magkaroon ka ng extra resources? So, an example would be bank loans, di ba? Pwedeng umutang sa Bombay, di ba? Pwedeng umutang sa mga kamag-anak, di ba? Like profit sharing investments, different ways. Okay? Ginagawa naman na talaga yan. Kung nag-work na before, may results na before, and resources lang talaga yung kulang, bakit hindi ma-duplicate yung results o ma-scale? Okay? Now, if it's the other naman, which is walang consistent track record of results ever since, malamang sa malamang it's not a good venture to place your bet on continually. Okay? So that's one way to look at it. Now, I'll relate it to one of the things I'm developing right now. The difference of a creative entrepreneur and a structured entrepreneur. Okay? Nakaposisyon ang structured entrepreneur to maximize strategy, techniques, and tactics. Meaning, money comes to a structured entrepreneur in the short term. Kaya nilang diskartehan yung pera at any point in. The creative entrepreneur, however, is positioned for money later opportunities. Okay? It takes time before they find their positioning in the world. Tapos that would generate them the kind of cash na exponential. Okay? Of course, any person naman can develop themselves into one or the other. Pero bawat isa din sa atin ay merong mas default. Mas nag-lean tayo towards being a structured entrepreneur or a creative entrepreneur. And sa simula, syempre hindi naman lahat tayo may training talaga for entrepreneurship. So kinakapapa lang natin which is which. So I'm developing these concepts kasi it's part of the patterns talaga of the usual circles that we are in. Imagine that. If you're a creative entrepreneur, the idea is kailangan mo lang mag-survive for quite some time until yung actual venture mo is mag-fly na. Okay? If you're a structured entrepreneur, ang pitfall naman is to hold yourself back from growth. Kasi mas nandun ka lang sa sureball na kumikita na kayo. And you would usually say no to other opportunities kahit mas malaki yun. Kasi okay na yung ngayon eh. Komportable yung ngayon. And kaya mong diskartehan yung ngayon. Okay? These are tendencies. Okay? And may mindset dyan nakasama, may decision making na kagad dyan nakasama, may usual emotional patterns na kagad dyan nakasama, and na-amplify pa yun based on the values list. So, there's a lot there. Kasi meron daw mga avatars eh. Okay? I'm still forming the whole quiz around it. Hindi ko alam kung magkakaroon talaga siya ng quiz. Baka like parang personal assessment lang muna yun if I release it at one point. But that's a way to simplify it. So example niyan would be, let's just say a creative entrepreneur. So ang analogy is an artist. An artist could be painting for years and then being paid, kumbaga, crickets for the paintings na ginagawa niya. Until it reaches a point na for whatever reason, the artist gets like a certain prestige. And then yung value ng lahat ng kan-create niya dati, tataas din. Which is weird, right? Biglang bibilin mo na yung first masterpiece nitong person na to kasi biglang umokay yung positioning niya like sa mundo. Pero the effort he put into that is like way before pa umabot siya dun sa point na yun. Pero retroactive yung value. Okay? Ako, I fall more into the creative entrepreneur. Okay? So, ang mas kailangan lang talaga is you're practicing your craft. If you're practicing your craft, everything becomes retroactive. So right now, I can get paid like 120K for 45 minutes of consulting work. Pesos yun. Just to be clear. Hindi dollars, hindi Indian ringgit. No. So 120 pesos for 45 minutes of consultation. But that's because I've been doing it for 9 years. And this is something I actually haven't imagined myself to be in. Alam mo yun, hindi siya pinlano. Nagkaroon lang ako ng mentors who get paid 500K for a 30-minute consultation. And that's when it dawned on me back in 2019 na being under the tutelage of itong couple na to na naging mentors ko. Tsaka ko lang naisip na, gosh, 5K per hour lang yung charge ko. Pero may possibility pala na mas malaki pa, like way more than that. That's 2019. But, yeah, 2018, 2019. Like, may ano siya, may merge yung timeline. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Sorry, like, ano na tayo, like, time na tayo. Pero, let's just take a quick picture for everyone who's here. Maraming salamat for joining. Gusto ko lang may remembrance ako. If you could turn your videos on, yeah, pakita tayo.